so today I want to talk about how to make a television show, and I wanted to approach it from the perspective, the legal perspective, of course, as well as from the perspective as an entertainment attorney, executive producer. So a little bit about myself. I'm an entertainment attorney. I've been doing this for 19 years. I've represented more than 50 produced film and television series. I've also worked as an executive producer on a couple of television series as well. You can look me up on IMDb under Brandon Blake, or go to my website, www.filmtvlaw.com, where I have a whole bunch of other articles as well about the film industry. So I want to talk about making a television show. How do you do it? Well, the first thing is, go out and get a camera, right? And that's cool. I mean, that's the way that definitely, web series are produced today, which are getting bigger and bigger deal. There's definitely an audience for that. I have an article as well about that. It's a hard way to make money. But if you want to make a TV show that is going to have an audience, maybe you're going to have some financing for it. You want to have, 12 episodes, to start. You need to approach it strategically, and you need to approach it in terms of, first of all, getting together the concept, right? So you have to have a strong concept. And a lot of people have concepts, and some of them they will tell me, this is not on TV. That you've never seen this before. This is the first time anyone's ever done this before. And, that's great, but, you have to understand that television executives are not super adventurous. They're not entrepreneurs. They're working in a big organization. And they like it when there is a precedent for what they're doing. Okay, and so because they're going to look at this and they're going to say, hey, this is so much like this other show and it's really popular, right? And it's not right, maybe. And if you look at television, then you kind of starts to explain a lot of things. Why do we get the same thing over and over and over again? But step into the mindset of a television executive and you'll start to see, well, okay, you're here. You are sort of a gatekeeper in terms of getting concepts in, new material in, whether it's scripted, whether it's comedy, whether it's reality, right? And you need to choose something that you think is going to be successful. And so you're assuming what the audience is going to like. So you're kind of thinking, and a lot of times network executives are not even considering the audience. They're saying, what is the guy above me going to say, right? Is this VP of development going to like it, right? Is this president of the network? Are they going to like it? So they're thinking a lot in terms of how can I make sure this is going to be a sure thing. When everybody knows with film and television, there aren't really a lot of sure things. So what they do is they look around and they say, hey, well, this worked really well, and if we just had a little change to it, then it will still work, and it's still going to work. And so then I'm talking as a network executive. I'm going to be safe because my project, the one I suggested to the people above me, is going to work, and people are going to like it, or at least. And if they don't like it, I can say, well, who knew, right? Because it worked before. So that's so the first thing when you're developing a concept for television, you have to say, yeah, it has to be unique. It has to be interesting. It also has to be something that has some kind of a reference to it. I mean, it's got to be something that there's a chance that people have seen it before, they liked it before, they've responded well to it. It can't be an exact copy, but on the other hand, it should not be, it's hard to say this, but not entirely original either, okay? Now, you've got a great concept. Next step, you start calling the networks. No, no, because a lot of people come up with concepts and you need to develop the concept, okay? So the next thing you do when you have a television program is you start working on the promo materials, right? So before you grab a camera, before you go out and start shooting stuff, you start working on how can I best demonstrate this in a pitch book or a lookbook and you start kind of going through how this is going to look, and you want to explain to people, and you want to do it in a cost-effective way. Okay, you don't want to do it. You don't want to go out and shoot, a $5 million pilot, and then everyone sees it and they say, "Well, I don't think it's a good idea." Well, that's wasteful, right? So you want to make sure that you're going to do this in a cost-effective way. So you put together the pitch materials so that you can start to show people how this will look on screen without actually putting it on screen. The script. Now, obviously, reality television doesn't need a script, but for dramatic stuff, for comedy, you want to have the pilot teleplay. You don't have to overdo it. A lot of people will come in, well, not a lot, some people will come in and they'll tell me, "Well, I got 12 episodes written." It's like, well, that's too many. That's like 11 too many. Because you've got one great pilot and you've got a bunch of outlines for other projects. Then you're starting to be able to show people, okay, this is what it's going to be like. They have the pilot, and they have a bunch of other outlines, and you're showing people, hey, this is going to be how it's going to develop, over the season, over multiple seasons, right? Why not be optimistic about it? Plan for 4 or 5 seasons, and show people how this thing is going to develop. Okay, so now you've gotten a lot of stuff, right? You've got pitch materials. You're going to show people how it looks. You're going to have maybe a poster where it's going to be just like a poster you'd see on Netflix, or just like a poster that you're going to see on HBO, right? Or a still, or whatever you want to call it. There's a big issue with first-time film producers, first-time television producers, and that is to say, I'm going to give you something, and I want you to imagine what I could do with lots of money, lots of stars, a really good writer. You can't do that. You have to come in with something that is, whatever you produce has to be done. Okay, so if you're going to write a pilot, it's got to be a really great pilot. It's not going to be like, well, imagine how good this pilot could be if I had another writer. That doesn't make any sense, right? And the same thing with the promotional materials. So you come in with a pitch deck, right? Well, it's got to look like a real series. I mean, you've got to see the images. That you need to say, hey, I could see this. If it's a movie, you say, I can see this up in a theater. If there's a TV show, you can say, hey, I can see this on Netflix. I can see what this is going to look like. If it's not going to look exactly right, don't do it. And the reason that you do things like posters and lookbooks and the show Bible and the pilot is because it doesn't cost $5 million to go out and do it, right? It might cost a little bit, and it takes some time, but it doesn't cost a whole bunch of money. And everybody does that, from the biggest showrunners to the first-time filmmaker, to the first-time television producers. Everybody does it the same way, or at least everybody should do it the same way. And now you're learning how to do it, which is that you come in with something which looks really, really great, but it didn't take a huge amount of money to produce it, right? And you're showing people how good this is. So you're coming in, you've got your promotional materials, you've got your show Bible, you've got your, you've got the pitch deck, you've got the one sheet, you've got the pilot, you've got the show outlines, you've got all this stuff, right? And you can check off the box, you got everything you need. So, and it all looks great. It all looks broadcast quality. It looks like the professional quality, because we're not imagining it's good. It really is good. So now the next step is to basically start figuring out, who can you bring to this project? Now, for reality television, that's really sort of easy in a sense, because you should have access to whoever it is that you're doing your reality show about. And I think I'll make that into a whole separate blog, which is reality television. But basically, you want to have access to whoever it is that you are covering. Now, what about if you're coming in with a scripted show? Well, if you have access to some known actors, if you have some people who are going to be known by the networks, known by the production companies, then get them involved, right? Get their interest. And then when you have starting to put this package together, right, which is the whole key word, packaging. So it's what William Morris Endeavor does, it's what CAA does. They package their shows. So as you're putting together this package, then you want to present the package, right? And so that's something that a law firm like ours can do. We can bring this package to production companies, to networks, to sponsors, and start showing them, you know, here's what you have. You don't have to imagine it. Here's a really great package you put together, and here is the way it's going to be done. And then if you have a production company and you want to be the production company, then you can show the budgets and you can show the production facilities of reality television. You need to have access to the particular story that you're covering. Okay, so if it's a auto garage, you need to actually have the auto garage. If it's going to be an exploring series, you need to be the explorer, or you need to know the explorer. You want to make sure that you have the actual subject that you're covering for the show. If you are making a dramatic or a comedy series, you want to make sure that you have all the copyrights to all the materials that you've put together. So you have the copyrights to the script, to the underlying story. You have gotten everything together. You may have put together a sizzle reel. And again, you know, when we're talking about the types of materials that you want to put together for a television series, I say sizzle reels are great when the sizzle reels are really good. And so if you have the production facilities, you have the editing facilities, you have the special effects, you have whatever it takes to actually make the show, and you want to make a sizzle reel, which is, you know, 3 to 5 minutes long, up to 10 minutes long, and it looks broadcast quality, then great. Yes, it definitely helps to have a strong sizzle reel. If you do not have those facilities, if you do not want to spend the money to acquire those facilities, then don't do it, because it's just like with the script, it's just like with the show Bible, it's like with the poster or the one sheet. You want to come in with things that are finished. It's a finished product. So you're doing a sizzle because it's shorter than doing a whole pilot, right? So you're not going to do the whole pilot, you're going to do a sizzle, but only if you can really do it right. So if you can, it looks great. If you can't, then it's okay. Don't do it. There's lots of people who've done successful television series that have been launched both in reality as well as dramatic without having a sizzle reel. So do it if you have the facilities, if you have the financing for it, and don't do it if you don't. Getting it to the production companies, getting it to the networks, you need representation. That's a law firm like ours can do that. We can get the right projects to the right people. We can document it to get past the no unsolicited materials rule, so that you can make sure that you're going to have access to these different networks, these different production companies. We also have contacts already at many networks and many production companies, and so we're able to basically send the project to the right people, have them look at it, and then, you know, then it becomes a collaborative process, and you are basically working with a production company, you're working with a showrunner, you're working with the network in order to put together all the elements, and eventually everybody gets in front of the camera and they shoot the pilot, and it looks great, you know, hopefully. But the way you got there wasn't by going out and shooting a pilot. The ways you got there was by getting people interested, getting excited, submitting the materials, submitting the concept, protecting the concept, and getting all the team that you need together. And that's the process, whether you're an independent producer, whether you are an experienced showrunner, whether you're running a big production company, the process is always the same. So this has been part of my Entertainment Lawyer Forum. Feel free to take a look at everything I've got on my website. I've got a lot of resources www.filmtvlaw.com, where you can look up articles on all sorts of things. And until next time, thanks a lot.